Hello and welcome to the Overton Audios podcast. My name's Connor Chadwick.
And I'm Daniel Patton. And on today's podcast, we'll be talking about Doctor Who Running Home.
And then we'll be going to a segment with myself, Aidan O'Connor, Abby Louise, Chelsea Lagan, and Jimi Wolfe discussing the Doctor Who multiversal, kind of multi-channel 60th anniversary event thing we're doing.
Extravaganza.
Indeed.
How are you doing, sir?
Stressed.
Stressed?
Very stressed. So, last week, no, actually, as of recording it, we're recording this on the Friday, the week before the podcast goes out.
Yeah.
Monday, I got my new computer. Now, the last time I had a computer was, well, when I got a new one was Christmas 2019. So my last computer, we've only ever recorded the podcast on that one. So
Yeah.
me setting up everything, trying to make sure Zoom's recording and everything like that, and make sure, because the new iMac, right, it doesn't have USB ports.
It's USB Type-C.
Well, yeah, it's these Thunderbolt things.
Yeah, which
So
are faster. I do like USB Type-C. It's just inconvenient to those who are jumping to that.
I've had to buy a load of adapters.
Yeah.
I've got the thing is I bought them in bulk. I've got and the thing is this iMac doesn't have an SD card reader either.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I don't understand this whole thing about simplicity. It's not simple. I don't get it. Maybe I'm an old man about this. I don't know, but like I would have expected, because it's so thin and lightweight, and it is really nice because it's a smaller screen. Because my other computer was 27-inch, but as a result, because of my desk setup, it could barely fit in. I had to bend it and contort, well, not bend it, but like angle it.
Yeah.
And sort of move it into position. Whereas this one has been really nice. I can turn it completely and look round the back. Whereas the other one, it kept hitting on the metal bars of the desk setup.
Yeah.
So it's really, really nice for that. But the only thing it has, and I didn't find this out until I really looked at the booklet. I felt around the screen. I even missed the headphone port. I've been able to find it, but that's the only thing. And I'm like, well, soon that's going to be gone anyway.
Well, we'll see, because the thing is, the headphone port, especially in computers, is more important than it would be on a phone because of external speakers. I doubt
Yeah.
that Apple would do that, because it's, in the end of the day, they try to cater for the creative industry, and people like using external headphones for 5 points surround sound mixing. So to do that, they are literally going to be cutting off a portion of their audience. So we'll see how that goes.
I just don't like the whole idea of making everything blank is somehow good. Like where's the I knew around the back that it has these four Thunderbolt connectors, and then obviously on the other side it has an off button. I was like, well, that's okay. I got these adapters, these Thunderbolt adapters that have three USBs on each one, so I bought three of them. So I've got three USB portions.
So you have
Um,
so there's three per one, so that's like 12, no, that's
No,
9.
nine. It's nine. But I've had to buy another one because I found out funny enough, audience, as we're recording, in about an hour and a half, I still haven't packed or done anything. I'm heading off for some filming in London.
Nice.
I'm really stressing because I've got so much to do, and then oh Lord, I've got a
Yeah.
train to catch, and
For-
oh God, but it's live action filming, and of course, we talked about live action filming. We want to do a little bit more of that more recently, and like of course again we'll talk about it later with Doctor Who Multiversal, but we did do a live action thing we filmed in Cardiff about a year ago. In fact, actually, only the other day on TT Productions, Abby released the Paternoster Break-In, which was something we shot around St. Paul's back in June.
Yeah, I remember.
And then around Red Nose Day now will be something on TT Productions as well, but made by Jim, otherwise known as James York, for the Queer Doctor Adventures, where I shot something with him in October in Cambridge. It's a Red Nose Day special thing. So there's a lot of live action content coming out all of a sudden. And of course, you've also got the multiversal episodes. We had part 3 come out last week, which was something we shot in the summer. And then in April, we've got part 5 of that, which is part 5 of Multiversal coming out, which is another live action episode shot around that time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of live action content coming out, and I'm really hopeful we can do more of it. I know that you're obviously predominantly live action as well.
Yeah.
It's just nice to be able to, if you know what I mean, and I don't mean this, hopefully it doesn't come across this way. It's nice to be able to catch up with you.
Yeah, me too, sir.
No, no, because I've been audio, predominantly audio for like 5 years. So to get into some live action stuff, even though it's not a full episode, it has been nice to do some live action things so that the
Yeah.
Prism universe isn't just contained to,
Well,
it's not all on your shoulders to have to make live action content. And therefore, also, when your series does end, you're not ending the live action content either, you know?
yeah. Like it's like the same thing. It's like live auction, live action content doesn't start and end with fresh timeline. It's like we're always adapting to the other mediums, and it's like
Yeah, exactly.
we just do whatever we want. Because
Mm.
if you're skilled enough, I'd love to do like a motion comic or something like that. But
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that was actually talked about. I think when we've had one of our mini Zooms with people, we have talked about doing some sort of animation type thing. Like, I think I've seen a couple of other creators do it before, where they get photos of themselves and they animate them like slowly panning in or zooming or sort.
sort of like that fling with the Famasi
Yeah, I
special.
suppose. Yeah, I suppose. See, I don't mind those ideas, but imagine that in a more sort of drawn cartoon comic sense. That would be really interesting.
We could try in the future. Not promising, but that'd be very cool.
It's ideas, it's ideas. But yeah, so yeah, we're filming this evening around St. Paul's again, but it's for a mixture of things. We're filming something for Prism and something for TT Productions. It's also someone's because last week was Rassilon Productions' birthday.
Ooh,
But it was down in Hastings, and I just did not. There was too much work, and
happy
cash was an
birthday,
issue. But he's going to be there as well,
Rory.
so we're going to be having a nice little birthday meal with him.
Happy birthday, Rory.
Yay! And then of course we're going to be meeting Connor J. Sumner for the first time.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
He's
I would love
currently
to.
he's currently on a coach at the moment. His coach left about half an hour ago and arrives in London at about 6:05. I probably don't need to catch the train at 4:30. I was originally going for the 4:40, but I wanted to get there in good time because I mean, spoilers for everyone who's on the podcast. I have not left properly the apartment. Well, I have left the apartment, but what I say is I haven't had to go to work for a little bit now, like a month or so, because my role has changed and I'm more managerial, and we don't really have. We used to have an office. I don't know if you remember that, Dan, where we used to have an office space.
I think I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very like 2019. We literally got it at the end of 2019, and then we just didn't have it by obviously, but COVID. We thought it'd be nice to have an office where people could sit and work if they were out on site and everything, but it was something that didn't work out, and then COVID happened, and everyone got used to working from home, more so it just saves us money to work from home. So I'm very lucky for that. But it has also meant, as a result of being more managerial, been at home more. The problem is as well that follows that is I haven't been able to do any audio editing. But no, I have. I'll tell you, so I have been very much more productive because
Yeah.
of TT Productions, DWEM or Doctor Expansive Multiverse. Of course, you've done some visual effects for that as well.
Loads,
With
yes.
the yeah, because we didn't. I think it's ironic. How have I got some? I'm saying I'm in a bit of a rush at the moment because I've got to talk about this, and that, and go and film and stuff. But yet we're talking more often. We're talking more now than I think we ever have done at the intro to a podcast before.
Yes.
No, but like you did the visual effects for Fragmented Epilogue, the TARDIS crashing, and
Yes, I did.
the Dalek portal. And then of course, what else was it? Multiversal Part One. The handshake that turned to lightning.
Yep.
But you did that like September or October, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a rush for that. I can't remember what the rush was.
It was originally meant to be coming out around that time, and then because of things like we ended up filming some stuff over the summer, and then we were reevaluating things after the summer gathering, and we decided to turn it into a series that all linked together to make use of the footage from everyone's minisodes because some of the projects fell through.
That's fair.
But no, that's why it was originally coming out in October, but then it got pushed back to New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So there was that. No, we've been very productive, very productive. As a result, though, Overton Audios has been it's been a very quick, easy thing so far because with the current projects that are coming out, they're about 2 years old.
Exactly. Like I remember like you were talking about running home years ago. Like whenever you were talking about, I think summer 2022.
Mm.
Yeah, summer 2022 is when you first asked me about it. And now here it is. And speaking of which, shall we cut to our chat, well, your chat with Aidan O'Connor about Doctor Who running home, sir?
Yes, we shall.
Hello? This is Elias, a junior officer at the Time Agency. We have a situation requiring emergency assistance. Emergency assistance required.
Overton Audios presents.
Huh? What's that? No idea what that is. Odd. Oh well. Teaches me for not reading the manual.
Who are you? And where am I?
My name is Vas. I am the leader of this craft.
Now, what are your precautionary systems up to? Why haven't they kicked in?
No idea. The Axons must be projecting a blocking signal from their ship.
No, they can't be.
I believe there may be something hidden in your church. Something dangerous that needs serious attention.
I would suggest you take a place in the line there, Doctor.
Time is a force of nature. It's meant to help, to assist. You cannot control it or remove it from the natural order of the universe.
Time is not a natural thing, but yet it was created all the same, and now it seeks to be free.
Doctor Who, the 13th Doctor Adventures, Running Home. Coming the 10th of February 2024 at 12 p.m. And welcome back to the podcast. And today's a little bit different on the podcast today because I think this is the first segment on the Overton Audios podcast that I've had to do by myself. Now, you may note that just before this segment began, Daniel said it would be with Aidan O'Connor. That wasn't possible, as you can probably tell from currently the segment that you're listening to. It's the problem is that when I was going to be seeing Aidan, which was going to be in person, we were very busy. We were very, very busy. We've been doing some filming. We did some filming on the Friday, the 23rd of February, and some on the 24th. And we were meant to sit down and talk about running home, but sadly we were so busy with the filming that it never came to mind. So I'm now sat here editing the podcast, realising I forgot to edit or even record a segment. So you've got me, solo for once. So Running Home was a project that myself and Eamon Longman began with. It was something that I wanted to start, initially started with me. It was conceptualized in 2021. And I wanted to do something because at this point, Jodie had just announced that she was leaving as the 13th Doctor. Obviously, Chibnall had also announced he was leaving with her. And I thought it would be really nice because we just did the Magtor loop at the beginning of 2021. It'd be really nice to do some stories with Wendy Abrahams as the 13th Doctor and just a little volume, just to celebrate that era, really. However, as we were writing it, we realised there wasn't a date for when the final special would be out. So we were trying to write these and get them sort of recorded on time, but we weren't sure for what time. And obviously, as you know, I make a lot of things with release schedules and such. So as a result, I was struggling to actually get it out on time because I didn't know what my deadline was, and everything else has deadlines because, you know, I have a very strict, well, back then anyway, I like to think I had a very strict release schedule. So anyway, what then came about was 2 weeks before Power of the Doctor aired. 2 weeks before that, they announced the release date, and we had none of them ready. and I knew that I wouldn't. So I really hoped for 2023, with it being the 60th year and everything. And I thought it might even be good to try and, I had some ideas even to try and get the 13th Doctor to appear in the Prism 60th as well, potentially. But as I was writing the Prism 60th, it became obvious, because I was thinking like, oh, well, I've already done like a story with the 13th Doctor. We've obviously got Michael Cox as the first Doctor. And then we've done another Transcending Time with Elliot Crossley playing the 10th Doctor. And I thought, wow, how interesting would it be to have those Doctors interact with Prism and everything? And then it would be an interesting idea to try. But there was too much in that 60th in the end. So as a result, that never happened. We got episode 1 recorded first by Wendy. But then, as we were starting to get episodes 2 and 3 sorted, Wendy bowed out of the project. She said that she was starting to step down from playing the role, because she initially played the role from, I believe it was Mr. TARDIS Reviews. He did a 13th Doctor audio, which involved the 13th Doctor, obviously, alongside the fam, that being Graham, Ryan, and Yaz. So there were impressionists for them as well. But it was something where I was then looking around for people for quite a while, and at this point, myself and Abby Louise had started collaborating a lot more, and it was when she then suggested Oriana Rose. At this point, she was known as Little Ori. She'd done some 13th Doctor stuff in the past, but it was and I hadn't really seen much, but we casted her. And she voiced the role for episodes 2 and 3. And it didn't seem to be something that was too, at least from what I've seen from when it's come out, not many people have noticed, or at least if they have noticed, it's not been too much of a departure, and the impressions have both stayed consistent with one another, which I'm very glad for. We will be reading some comments later in the comments section. That will be with what I've already recorded with Dan. But no, in the end, I was really happy with how it came out. Abby Louise edited episode 1 for me. That was Liberation of Axos. I really enjoyed listening to that one when it was done. Aidan O'Connor, which is why I was going to do the talk with him, he edited episode 2, which was called Sins of an Angel, and that was written by Daniel. I kind of reached out to a few different writers about this. Eamon had expressed interest in writing for the 13th Doctor, and he's always kind of wanted to write for different Doctors anyway, for BBC Doctors, I mean. He's always had an enjoyment for that. So I gave him episode 1, and I couldn't say no to an Axos story. But he wrote that one. Daniel. Daniel wrote episode 2, and that went really, really well. He had this idea about the Weeping Angels. It was a shame, really, because he was actually writing this before Flux, because at this point, I believe it had been announced in the middle of 2021 that Jodie was leaving. So Dan had this idea for Weeping Angels, and there are some elements to it that are very similar to Village of the Angels, but also some that are, it had a very nice, because Dan felt it had a very nice presence, I feel, in that story, especially for the Irish presence, because Dan had felt very much cheated by the Timeless Children, or should I say, essentially the Cybermen. At least that was the first connecting part, which had Brandon, the character of Brandon, as an Irish. I'm going to say police officer, but I imagine it's I know there's an official Irish term for it. I'm not going to insult people by attempting. Well, I don't entirely know, but nonetheless, he wasn't satisfied with the fact it was all a dream, and that Doctor Who has never properly gone to Ireland. I mean, it has more recently with the Big Finish stories. They've done the Sontarans versus the Rootons, where the 8th Doctor, Charlie, and Keris went to Ireland, and obviously Dan, as well as Chelsea, have been very happy about that, but Dan really wanted something to be really he wanted something quite Irish in there, and that's something that Dan has very much wanted to explore within his Doctor Who contributions, shall we say. I mean, his Doctor is called the Irish Doctor, I mean, it's kind of in the name. But no, he wrote that one, and then I was writing The Worshippers but I just had a massive writer's block with it. I feel like there was everything I tried didn't work. So as I was halfway through writing it, Eamon came in for the last part and helped conclude it. Which of course he then introduced the element of, and by the way, spoilers ahead, he then introduced the element of Ella not necessarily entirely being Ella, which I thought was really interesting because that's the thing I was struggling with, was the fact that, we'd had the cliffhanger in episode 2, and then it all seemingly got sorted almost immediately, and I was just like, oh, I don't know, because she had no one else to talk to. That was the problem for me. I couldn't have her talk to herself for too much longer because it was getting too problematic. And yeah, I just really, in the end, Eamon really helped out with this volume, and I'm really glad that he did. I've always loved his writing, and everyone else seems to have as well, so that's good. I also, in the end, the cover arts were made all by me. Motion Idea Films helped with the cover art template. He was originally making something to make like just some general concept arts, to which I then said to him, I need that. Actually, I need something like that, please. So he gave it to me, and thus he's been credited accordingly. But I've made the cover arts for episodes 1, 2, and 3. I'm not really a proper cover artist myself. I don't consider myself to be one. I try my best, and sometimes I get really good ones. Like I consider episode 3 to be one of my best ones. I got the lighting really well done, I feel, and Daniel gave his seal of approval for it, which of course means the world to me. But then you look at stuff like episode 1, and I'm like, I hate episode 1 so much. But I like now, obviously back then I thought it was quite good. But I look back at it now, going, no, could have done something else. I could have done something completely different. But yeah, not trying to badmouth it entirely. It's just me being critical of my own work, I suppose. But nonetheless, I'm really happy with how the volume turned out. A lot of people ask if we're going to do more 13th Doctor adventures. I don't know, really, because it's actually technically a lot of people have asked if it's canon to the BBC timeline. I'm like, no. We're the Prism timeline. So this is just, you can say that in the Prism timeline, BBC timeline is kind of like, everything that you see added on kind of happens. But this here are explicitly stories made by us. They're not going to be something that we go, yeah, if you watch Spyfall now, you'll see it in a different light. It's not going to work like that for you. It's just something that's going to be like a whole Prism storyline for that Doctor, and stuff like that, really. I'm really hopeful that we could do more with other Doctors. We've obviously had Elliot Crossley playing the 10th Doctor. That's obviously been an idea in the works for a little bit, going, what if we did 10th Doctor adventures? We've also worked with Wink Taylor, who plays the 7th Doctor. I know he can also do a really good 5th Doctor impression. So it would be really good to kind of maybe work with him on that. And yeah, I know that the possibilities are endless, but right now at the moment we've got enough going on with other things at Prism that making that would be something a bit further down the line, perhaps. But yes, indeed. I'm trying to think of any other questions that people would think about asking me, because usually I'm used to this being a conversational thing. I'm not used to really talking as a one-person thing here. I'm used to it with my monthly vlogs, but not like this. Not when, you've not got a visual to work off of, so I'm trying to keep quick, keep busy. So what am I trying to say now? I think that's everything. I think in terms of the storyline and everything, it was actually pretty much, in terms of the main story with the companion and everything, it was pretty much Eamon's doing. He created the character of Ella Taggart and the Time Agency and everything like that. I wanted a character who could be on par with 13, but not someone that should have to, someone that would contrast the fam a bit. So Eamon really delivered on that. And I really enjoyed seeing the Time Agency, because we are hoping to do some, we are hoping to do some Time Agency-based things soon, as you'll have seen from the Prism 60th, where there's a character who's literally a time agent in it. And there's also other characters like Agent Fraser Obadias, who was a time agent in the very early days of the Cravat Doctor era. There's so many different possibilities, and I'm really looking forward to exploring it at some point, but that will not be so heavily connected to 13th Doctor. So yeah, I think that's everything. I'm not going to delay this any further. I know I'm actually starting to lose my voice now from how much I'm talking, so that's fun. So yes, anyway, thank you all for listening, and I shall return to the podcast, which is technically I've already recorded, but in the future for you, but the past for me, with Daniel Patton. And welcome back to the podcast. Now that was a lovely segment, wasn't it, Daniel?
Yes, to be recorded.
Yes, indeed.
I kind of trapped you in a box with that one.
Yes, you did, because I haven't recorded that yet, and I didn't know who it would be with, but hopefully it's with Aidan. So, yeah, but either way, at least I have the hindsight of knowing that, so that when it comes into the actual recording of it later, I can actually go, hello, this isn't Aidan, this is someone else, or this is Aidan and someone else, blah, 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 blah. But anyway...
Aidan edited one of them, didn't he? He edited The Sins of the Angel.
He edited the one that you wrote.
Yes. I remember thinking about that one. I remember you were asking me about ideas, and I had the idea back in my head for like an angel episode set in Ireland. Basically, the angel has been seen as sort of like a holy artifact by the priest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I thought this. I thought I really want to do a dark gothic angels episode with 13. Because I really liked Village of the Angels. I thought it was like one of the best episodes in 13's era. I thought to myself, oh, I need to do something like this here. Because I like the idea of weeping angels in small like village and sort of like weak country towns.
Yeah.
Like very remote, very isolated.
Indeed. But speaking of the whole running home storyline, as of recording this, episode 3 is out tomorrow, but we need to get this podcast recorded. So we're going to be reading in for the first 2 episodes of Running Home. You're reading in for the episode that you wrote and Aidan edited, and I'll read in for the Axos episode that's written by Eamon Longman.
No worries.
So, with episode 1, The Liberation of Axos, we have a comment here from Mrs. Moores. Is that Mrs. Moore from... it is, that's Mrs. Moore from the... the Age of the Cybermen.
Oh.
No, not Age of the Cybermen. Rise of the Cybermen and Age of Steel.
Yeah. And
she or they said, oh no, I hate how much I love this. I will definitely check out the other work now. Which is good. I don't know if it's good that you like it, but I don't know. I think that's good. Then we have a comment from Gladiator 652004 who says, nice tale. Super 13th Doctor impression. I love how you deploy the era's music. Perhaps you needed some more adventures without that pesky fam. And then we have a comment from 4 Starlek who says, nice work. Then we have a comment from MMS who says, oh, this was really enjoyable. I may not be a big fan of the Axons, but listening through this story with 13 and companion Ella made it very much like a proper Big Finish adventure. The script was also top-notch, with 13 isms perfectly put in. I only hope the rest of the volume is as good as this adventure alone has been. 9 out of 10. Now, here's the thing. I've noticed that as well, is that when I uploaded the trailer for Running Home, I attracted a lot of anti-Chibnall people.
Not them.
No, but they were like, "Oh, this actually sounds better than Chibnall," and I'm like, "That's not what I want. I'm not trying to be better than anyone. I'm trying to
go away. You're not welcome here."
Well, no, but that's the thing. If this had come out when I originally wanted it to, which was when Jodie was leaving, I would have it would have it's trying to be a celebration of the era. It's not trying to be better.
Yeah, I get you. It's a attribution to what it was.
That's the thing. It's like that's the thing. Obviously, because at that point, Doctor Who was not so great with its marketing and telling you when it might be coming out.
Yeah.
Which is why I've really found it refreshing. With the current era of Doctor Who, we already know it's coming out in May.
Yeah, we have plenty of time to prepare ourselves for that.
Yeah. We were given 5 months' notice by Russell. It was May. In fact, he told us it was meant to be the new year. Christmas special was meant to be episode 1.
Yeah, but I think it's because like VFX held it back.
Yeah, but I'm actually really glad that he's delaying it to get the visual effects done.
Get
because
that
you hear
show.
because I mean you hear about all the visual effects anyway, and visual effects artists being overworked. At least he's given them 5 months.
Yeah, exactly. Like here's been coming from a person who's actually worked in the VFX industry, especially for the BBC. It can be exhausting, and when the executive producers are pestering you, pestering you, pestering you, it can be one of the most negative, most toxic workplaces. So props to RTD for giving the VFX peeps more time to work on the VFX, get them pristine, and get the show to the best standing it can possibly be. So cheers.
Indeed.
And moving on to Sins of an Angel.
Oh,
Speaking of Chibnall hate.
oh.
Way better than Chibnall. No, and no TARDIS overload. Wonderful 13th Doctor impersonation. She's a bit preachy as traditional. Manage a script. Keep up the good work. We can appreciate the positives there, but still, I prefer positivity wrapped with more positivity, not wrapped in a bow of negativity.
I love it. I love it. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Sorry, I'm sorry to the commenter who's written this. Because I am acknowledging that you are liking this, but do you have to like it whilst dragging something with you? Like,
Yeah.
I'm basing this off of the thing you're trashing.
But we also got a comment to reply to that one from a little Ori, which I think is Oriana.
That's Oriana Rose, who plays
Yeah,
the
who plays
13th
13.
Doctor.
Yeah, she says thanks for a lovely comment.
Well, at least it's been received well. To me, it read it as the 13th Doctor is preachy, way better than Chibnall, and the TARDIS overload is overdone. It read like that to me when I read it, but at least Ori has taken it in her stride, which is good.
Yeah. I don't get why being preachy is a bad thing. Like like you look at other doctors, you look at Capaldi, he preaches constantly, and people like gosh over him when he preaches.
Because he's a man.
It's sexism. That's what it is.
No, I don't know. The
I don't
thing
know.
is, 13's personality is also a massive departure in comparison to 12. When 12 would deliver the lines, it would be a little bit different to 13. 13 is more. 13 is speaking from experience, but doesn't hold the weight of the past on her. You know what I mean?
It's two different deliveries. It's like
Yeah.
when you hear Capaldi talk to someone, it's like an army general talking down to a subordinate. When it's Jodie, you sort of see it as like a more like a school teacher sort of vibe, where it's like she's telling you what it is, but also trying to educate you how to be better.
Yeah, or also just a really good mate trying to get you not to go down a very bad path.
She's like, you know, like how everyone has like a mother of the grip.
Yeah.
She's the mother of the grip.
Or the wacky aunt.
The wacky aunt.
I see that as more there. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Jodie Whittaker is the wacky aunt.
Yeah, I sort of see that. Like she's kind of like the one who like does all like the meditations and herbal stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Agreed. So
Indeed. But yes, so those are all the comments. Wow.
Yes. But speaking of wacky adventures, sir, it doesn't get more wackier in the multiverse, doesn't it?
Oh, the multiverse.
Especially with Doctor Who Multiversal.
Oh my goodness.
What part are we on to right now, sir?
What, Multiversal?
Part 3, aren't we?
Part 3 came out a week ago as of recording.
All right. Well, shall we discuss with the gang about that then?
Yes, let's do that. Oh, this isn't what I wanted to be. A church? Hopefully Julia will end up here too. Julia? Miss Breslin? What? That makes no sense.
Strange readings. You want over there or here?
Indeed.
Another doctor.
Thought that was obvious from the Sonic.
You know, this multi-doctor stuff is getting really rather tiresome.
And welcome back to the podcast, and I am joined here by Aidan O'Connor.
Hello.
Chelsea Lagan.
Hello.
And Jimmy Wolfe.
Hello there. I don't know why I did that.
But we're going to be talking about the special 8-part series that we're all a part of called Doctor Who Multiversal. It kind of manifested itself. I want to say sort of September or October. Um, but it's got a bit of a weird story. The idea of calling it Doctor Who Multiversal as an 8-part series started then, but we actually shot the part one. Well, as of recording it, in 2 days' time from when we're currently recording it now, it will be a year since we filmed part one.
Oofed.
Yeah, which was in Cardiff. And we filmed that. What was it on? Chelsea, you were there for this mainly. We filmed that. It was a live action piece. Cravat and Julia. Was that the first time we did live action together?
Yeah, yeah, it really was. And I did not look my best, but there is a story behind it.
Yeah, like as you know, well, it makes sense because Doctor Who and Christmas trees and everything like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
here, to explain to the wonderful audience, whilst we were filming this amazing, lovely segment in a lovely rainy day, we found a Christmas tree that was obviously thrown out. I thought it was fake, but no. And Dickensian appears and decides to, well, I give her the idea to scan the Christmas tree. And I was just like, mate, just maybe just like poke and prod at it. I didn't think it was real, and my hay fever took effect. And if Connor wants to put up photos of my reaction to the Christmas tree while we were filming, you can just see throughout the filming my makeup and my eyeliner progressively disappears and my eyes just get more shut.
Oh dear.
Oh, just I did not look well, but here we got the episode done, so
Yeah, but I think we were filming for about 2 hours.
yeah, it
It
was really
was
cold.
it was me, you, Abby Louise, and James Sutton was doing the behind the scenes photos, and we had Peter M. George directing it, which was nice because we don't really have much stuff directed by Mr. Peter M. George. It's very rare. It's
I
very
think the
rare.
last stuff that well I remember being directed by him by was Waterside.
Yeah, God, what so that was what, three
Uh-huh.
years ago? No, it's 4 years.
Oh,
It's no, it's five. It's
I love
5 years. It's
Yeah.
5 years. Bloody hell. I thought it was 2022
That's
for a second.
madness.
Have I done that?
No, it's madness how long
Mm.
long ago it was because I had purple hair back then.
I thought it was
Oh.
red. It was kind of faint. It was more on
Well,
the
it
it was more
was
the
red.
ends of the hair, wasn't it? It was more like a crimsony
It
red.
was red the first day. It was red the first day when we filmed. And then there was a year jump or a couple of years jump or something. And I decided to take a shower that night in the hotel using hotel shampoo. And the color just drained into the bathtub. And well, it worked. It worked. It worked for the time jump. But I was very
Yeah.
pissed off. I spent a lot of money on that hair dye.
Oh no. But then, of course, it was always written to be like the thing we filmed for live action was initially written to be a two-parter. It would have this live action prequel, and then it was just going to be a nice little one-off audio where the Dickensian Doctor, played by Abby Louise, and the Cravat Doctor meet with Julia Breslin in tow. It was just maybe something a little bit funny that we did. We recorded that, I think, October. No, I thought it was earlier, maybe September or October last year. And then around that sort of time, around the summertime, we filmed a few minisodes over the summer, which is where Mr. O'Connor arrives in the narrative of the story.
Yeah.
And we filmed some minisodes. There was one called Boundaries, which is part 3. And then there was
Indeed.
another one called Closure, which is part 5. And they were filmed over the course of, I think, 2 days. They're nice little minisodes because it was a big summer gathering that we had. So we were also just meeting up as friends, and we could have filmed. I think it would have been easy to film both in a day, but we wanted to split it up and have friendship times and parties because I am not an old man. I'm a young man who likes to drink.
We love a good sesh.
I like to drink vodka straight from the bottle. I am a young man full of life and partying. Anyway, I've really put us on a bit of a tangent now.
My job.
Yes, so we filmed that, and that stars also that links into the last because you're closing out a sort of now that it's been announced as the Elysian universe, not so much just Dwem now. You're closing out an Elysian Doctor as well. Some live action stuff that was filmed over the summer. We're saying farewell to a Doctor there, but we're also getting to see Burgundy, Navy, obviously yourself playing Burgundy, Isaac Blake playing Navy, and in part 3 we get to see Rory Guest, Rassilon Productions himself, playing the role of the Techno Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I want like it was incredible like that day to just have, everybody there for that to be filming. I mean, I obviously we've been Isaac was there already, but when Rory came and me and him got to do something for the beginning of it, like I really was, it only dawned on me then that I think this is one of the first things Rory has filmed live action, and with like another Doctor. It was no less. It was a very interesting experience because for me, this was the first time I think I'd filmed as Burgundy, and it's actually going up somewhere since I think the prequel. So it's a very
Yeah.
big jump for anyone who's seen Burgundy's
But
prequel.
I suppose when you filmed the prequel, which for those of you who don't know, there was a prequel filmed that was the immediate post regeneration for the Burgundy Doctor. When we filmed, well, I say we filmed that, you filmed that, you were just, wasn't it just you and one other person on camera?
Yeah, I mean the first bit was filmed in like April 2021, and then the last bit, which was me and my friend, was in I think it was nearly August, late August, September of 2021.
So yeah, and so in this case, when filming these minisodes, we had, you had James Sutton directing, filming, and you had that support, and you had a lot more actors around you too. And obviously, we've all come together to put this into this overall multiversal storyline anyway.
Yeah,
So I suppose it was nice to have all that support of a crew, if you want to call it that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it felt very like it felt like things had really jumped up from where they were before, and it was nice to be able to have someone to bounce off, for a change. Like, because I didn't want to be just shouting at the woods, and I mean, Sutton is like a Swiss Army knife, so he was able to just really like work with us and kind of help out with shots, like with props. There, if anyone sees the prop that Rory has in Boundaries, incredible. Like it was really cool to see. Like, we could actually have a prop on set. We could actually be kind of doing something. And it was just it was just really interesting on the day.
Yeah.
And I think like I don't know, it was just cool to be able to actually like talk to another, like actually have a sort of multi-doctor scene and just talk. I was kind of like, oh, I feel like I really feel like David Tennant right now, like with Matt Smith or whatever, like in the with it, like, because I can imagine for them it's like, whoa, this is meant to be me, but it's like me in the future, the past.
I suppose it all comes together because obviously we're also audio based. So whenever we do get to do some live action content, I know that we've all got ideas of like what we want to do this summer for some live action stuff as well. It's all really nice to be able to do what we can, obviously during that time in audio form, but then it's really special when we can all film our live action stuff. So like, Cravat and Julia finally having live action in part 1. Aidan, you're continuing to have Burgundy Doctor adventures, whilst also, Isaac and Rory are able to add to their live action rapport already.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that there's like stuff with Fragmented like on the way, like at the moment. So I mean, I mean, we're really taking off in terms of the live action stuff this year, and I mean, I'm interested for people to see not only Boundaries but Closure as well, because I mean, I had some influence in that. Like, I mean, I wrote, like, I mean, I primarily wrote Closure, and I think it was a really, like, in its space of time, that was a good story to sort of write. And I mean, if I can actually give some context, that initially Closure was meant to be a last universe, I think, epilogue.
This being the Singularity saga that was made as part of the 60th anniversary celebrations.
Indeed, yeah, it was meant to be sort of a sort of afterward thing, but obviously we've changed things around a little bit, and I think it worked for the better, because you get to have the lovely Venture and Blonde epilogue that came out the day after the part 5, and I think that fit much better as a nice little tie off to that story. So for this one, it was more of what happened to. For me, it's like this is just everything after the last universe for Burgundy is actually in timeline order. So he goes to it. Yeah, so it was kind of nice to actually be like, oh, it just ties off both events, for like him and for Navy. They kind of, I think it's like a nice thing for both those doctors after obviously the audience would have seen Navy went through everything with fragmented over the last year, and Burgundy's sort of been going through the different the different multi-doctor stuff himself. It's nice that both doctors sort of rounded off with this, and then many more adventures will follow. But I think definitely I will say one the funny moments from Boundaries filming was definitely when, because we were right in the middle of a pathway where we didn't think we thought it was the one where nobody would really walk through. We had a lot of people walking through that walkway.
The powers of making fan content. It's like the way that you've got quiet skies for a little bit. The moment you start filming, a plane flies over.
Oh, don't start.
Oh, I mean, even the street behind where my TARDIS lands in it, like there was building work going on there, and we were just like, did we pick the right spot? Oh no.
Yeah, you go there to location test, and you're like, it's nice and quiet here. Next day you go there and they happen to be knocking down a building, and you're like, what the how did this happen?
Oh, it was.
But in a big, quick, and lovely twist, someone else has joined us. Abby Louise, writer and director of part 4 of Multiversal, which by the time that this comes out, this segment will come out, I don't believe part 4 will have come out. So we'll obviously keep those specific details to a minimum. But nonetheless, hello, Abatha.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm knackered because we just recorded that Multiversal.
Yes, we're all fresh off of recording part 4, and everyone here was in it. How did everyone find it?
Knackering.
I loved it. Loved it.
Very good. Really fun.
Good. I found it fun too. And I like to think as well, the way that we've kind of planned it, because obviously it's an 8-part series, we've kind of got it almost in like 2 waves, I'd say, even though it's maintaining a monthly release until I think the last one will be coming out in July as a result.
Yeah.
This one acts as like a nice mid-series finale, because again, part 1 and 2 are already out. Part 3 will be out by the time this segment is out anyway. We know that the person who caused this all is the Dickensian Doctor.
What?
Cravat,
my God.
She was just trying to be friendly with Julia. That's all she was doing.
Everyone called Cravat rude for trying to stop that handshake. But no, everyone was like, "Oh, ha ha, he's just a depressed man." But no, he knew what would happen.
He knew.
Hero moment.
He knew the gravity of the situation.
Oh, Aidan, stop
it. Aidan.
Aidan, no. But yeah, so that kind of almost, it helps bring a nice sort of everything together in part 4 regarding the effects of that handshake, and also faces it and explains basically what's been happening over the last 4 parts.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about writing/recording, Abatha?
Listening to everybody else's scenes and not actually acting.
Oh, very well. Very well. And everybody else, favorite moment? Well, I suppose for us it would be from the recording as opposed to the writing.
Oh well, writing wise, I liked putting doctors together who have never worked together before.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that I've never really worked with the other doctors. Technically, I've worked, with Dickensian and not as metal, but as the bitch. But I just loved working with the other doctors and their type of the way they hold themselves and the way they act, and it's the same whenever they were filming, even though I wasn't filming metal in the summer, I was filming something else, but I can't say what it was yet. But it's like them getting into their costume. And yes, I have seen pictures of them in their costumes, the you know, things being edited and everything, but whenever you see that person in their costume and they become their character, it's brilliant, especially how we're doing it like an audio and visual thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
it's just
It's
wonderful.
that-
I love it. I love it.
I say, but I like writing wise, I enjoyed putting a combination of doctors together who hadn't worked together. But recording wise, again, I liked sitting back and listening to the scenes rather than acting the scenes. Because yeah, it's like getting your own little private viewing of a radio show, essentially.
And I suppose from an editing perspective as well, because you'll be editing part 4 as well, you kind of get to imagine where the edits are going to go. You go, oh, okay, I'm going to put the footsteps here, sound effects, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Get ideas. And yeah. And Aidan and Jimmy, do you have any favorite moments from the recording?
Yeah, I'm an absolute sucker for a multi-doctor story of any kind. So I love being able to sort of play off other doctors and things like that, because it's just you get a type of interaction with doctors between doctors that you don't get between other characters. And I think what you have the wonderful moments when you can spout as much technical gibberish as you want, and it doesn't matter what you say, you know that the other character, even if the actor playing them doesn't understand it, you know the character.
I don't have a clue.
Yes, exactly.
Don't have a clue.
It works so well. But it's wonderful to, because obviously I've done the 60th anniversary for TT, but obviously playing against other universe doctors is great as well, because it's kind of you have a bit of it in this one where it's kind of, it's got past and future selves and things like that, but then you've also got alternate selves, so it's like it really gives a sort of encompassing feel, because everybody knows their own doctors and everybody knows their universe's doctors and different nations, but when you're going sort of across from the two different sort of universes, as it were, it means you get a
different.
You get this amazing interaction of the amazing interaction of the same character but so different, because
I think the other thing it showed with this as well is how different not just how different all the doctors are, but how different doctors' universes are.
Yes, that's what I was gonna.
What she said.
Yeah, because like, I mean, when I was like, I won't lie, my favorite moment was just Burgundy just talking to the TT doctors, because like
we are the ADHD doctors.
It's like, for example, and I won't get. Obviously, we've also tonight not just recorded for part 4, but we've also recorded for parts 6 and 7, which now, in terms of anything writing and recording wise, now leaves us with the final part now, which is very good forward planning. I approve. But in that, without getting too much into spoilers with that, that's where you really start to notice the slight differences. Like, for example, there's in part 6, you see that there's a doctor who has a duck.
Yes.
Meanwhile, there's another doctor who has an assassin for a companion, and they're all things that you wouldn't quite see in the actual show. They're almost like, those shows they do where they do like what ifs, and you're like, how did that happen? How did they get to that point? Even though, for example, for myself, with obviously talking about Julia Breslow and talking about having an assassin for a companion, I already have done that story, so that's normal for me. But trying to imagine how a duck ends up as a companion, I'm like, how did that happen? But that's the thing, like that's already planned out in. Well, I suppose like that's already planned out elsewhere. Do you get what I mean? Whereas vice versa. I hope you get what I mean. Like, it's kind of like when you watch like what ifs of an existing show. I suppose I know that Marvel from like the cinematic universe, they do what if, and they take existing characters and change them slightly, and it makes them almost the same but very different. And it's very much like that when we're interacting with our own doctors, because you're like somewhere down the line that path diverged, and we've ended up with this completely new retelling of the character.
You're a fan getting to actually be, it's that thing, you're a fan getting to be in a Doctor Who story that you don't know where it's going, and that's wonderfully exciting.
And I've actually found it very, very liberating with regards to reflecting on it, because I think back to when I started making fan films back in the 9th of May 2007, because I remember the date. My Doctor was the 11th Doctor. I was set straight after Tennant, and I was trying to match the show as a kid, because that's kind of what you do. But as I've got older, I've appreciated changing things and, not trying to be the show, having the same core concepts. Obviously, there are some things you can't really change. It stops it being what it is. But being able to change slight things so that you've got that kind of creative freedom. And it's just really nice when we make stuff like this and it's like a cross-universe thing, that you have the chance to be able to fully explore those stories and have like enough to show people what you're about, but not so much that they won't want to watch your stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because in a way, we're trying to also say, hey, come and look at our stuff.
Yeah,
That's ideally what we want.
Because people do like I do think people like this is really prevalent with anything, like with any sort of Doctor Who content that's come out over the last ever since like the revival, I'd say, because of YouTube being created. Like Lego Doctor Who figure adventures, then Doctor Who fan films, Doctor Who fan audios. People just found really interesting ways to just diverge from the normal storytelling, and I think that's good for the fans.
Yeah, it's so creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anything, I think the show is even like the show is now. I think it's actually the fans that are influencing the show, because now the show is taking some creative liberties with how certain things happen. Like I know I'm gonna, I know it's recent, but by regeneration, that's
I've seen that. I saw that in a fan film in 2009.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah, the difference is at the end is that they had to merge back to complete the regeneration, but it's still there. A person like in that fan film, I don't know, I doubt it's online anymore. When they were generating, the regeneration went wrong and they split apart, but they could still the characters of the Doctor could still die because they hadn't finished the regeneration. So they had to finish the story, and then at the end they were able to merge, and then the regeneration just kicked off. And I thought that was a really interesting concept. And in the end, obviously, I only really remembered it the other day when I saw a review about bioregeneration. They mentioned it, but no, like, that's the thing. Like, there are lots of things. I think Abby, you sometimes say this. So things that happen in the show that we're like, hang on a minute, I've had that idea before.
Yeah, like the toy
a lot.
maker.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was like, whenever Neil Patrick Harris was like announced as the toy maker, I was like, like no harm. When I started playing the toy maker, I didn't even know it was an actual character, and then I was like, it's a real person. I was like, but like for me, I just kind of go with, I'll just do what I do and come up with something. And then whenever he made his proper appearance in the episode, I was just like, oh, you wee bitch. That was my idea. But it's really good.
That's
I
also
love
what's
it.
nice about the show, isn't it? It's very transformative. You can see it appear in the show, but then you can actually also, because in a way, the show also had actually kind of confirmed that there is actually a multiverse of Doctors out there. They confirmed that. They confirmed that in the Flux series.
But I mean, we know that from like things like, well, for example, Big Finish doing all their Unbound stuff. That was a great thing about all this fan content. Is obviously there's always the debate over what is and what isn't canon in the show, but it's kind of like, well, everything and nothing is, and it's kind of like there is no reason why fan content shouldn't be considered canon, because all you've got to do is go alternate universe, and that's it. It's canon.
Alternate universe, alternate timeline. In a way, an alternate timeline is the same thing.
And I think that's beautiful, because you can get people really being creative with their content, and they don't have to necessarily worry about trying to fit it into. It's kind of like you were saying, you get people who want to do content, maybe they're starting out doing content and things like that, and they try to sort of emulate what the show is, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, everyone's got to start somewhere, but it's great to see people then sort of evolve their content into their own thing, because you think it's wonderful, because you never know what direction people's content's going to go. And it's sort of, it really is kind of like watching or listening, or whatever medium the fan content takes. It really is like watching the show itself, because it's this whole new adventure, whole new Doctors, whole new ideas that are just so unique to something. And it's interesting to see how they do it narratively, but also interesting to see how they produce it as an actual film or audio or something like that.
But yet there are also some things that you just cannot change about what the show is. You like obviously there are I think there's been some things like there's been I don't know if many of you know this one. It's called Professor What.
I know of it. I've heard
Professor
of it.
who?
Yeah, Professor. Yeah, Professor What. So like, but he travels around in a like London red telephone box. It's got like all the windows shaded and everything like that. But like, I think people can really adapt it. But ultimately, if you're trying to do Who, you always stick with the blue box. You stay with the same theme tune, if not a variant of how it's made. Like there are, it's interesting as a show how you can keep so many elements the same and yet make the show so diverse and different.
And even those same elements, you can get creative with them and change them as long as the fundamental, like the TARDIS, for example, it's got to be a police box, but it can be squarer, it can be wider, slimmer.
Yeah.
It's so
tiny.
Tiny.
I mean, I remember actually seeing somebody years ago now do actually like have the TARDIS going from the blue color to like a lilac color.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was, it was interesting.
But even then, like there's a precedent for that. That's in the series. The TARDIS has been pure white. It's been black. It's been pink. It they did has actually changed. So you can turn around and people go, "Oh, the TARDIS is meant to be blue." It's like it's not really though, is it? It could be anything.
No, didn't they do that with the Seventh Doctor Big Finish? They did the black and white saga, didn't they?
The black and white saga, and then I think it actually even appeared when they went to the Mind Robber Second Doctor. The TARDIS is white for about 2 scenes in that. For no apparent reason, but it was there.
Yeah. If it happens in the show, it's possible.
Yes, exactly. And if it doesn't happen in the show, someone will write it.
Yeah, if it doesn't happen in the show, it's still possible. It just hasn't been seen yet. Timey-wimey. But yes, is there anything else that anybody wanted to add about the second half of Multiversal? Because we're more likely going to probably talk about the full end of Multiversal in a few months anyway. Or shall we leave everyone on their toes as to
Let's leave them on a
next?
cliffhanger.
I mean,
listen, people.
Cliffhanger.
Yes, Aidan.
Oh, I'm just saying. I know. I was just gonna say, like, I will say, like, like, part 5, I think is a good, like, it's in the name. Closure it's a good. Like, you'll find out soon enough why that story is named aptly as it is, but it does round off a lot of things for a good number of characters, and I think we'll get around to that one in with the second half.
Indeed. There you go, teaser for part 5. And anyway, so thank you all for spending some time with me.
Thank you, Connor.
And we shall return to the podcast. Farewell.
Goodbye.
Bye.
And welcome back to the podcast. And we kick off the conclusion talking about what's coming soon, or shall I say, what's coming next on Overton Audios in March 2024. We introduce the Northern Doctor Adventures, the Further Adventures.
My God!
Overton Audios presents.
Are you two coming or what?
Hell yeah, we are.
Well, come on then. So, the TARDIS stands for time and
relative dimension in space. Yeah, we know, Doc. We've read the files.
We work for UNIT, remember?
There's no security droids at all at the centre now.
They went missing. No trace.
Do you not perhaps smell a rat?
Doctor, what a pleasure to see you again.
What are you doing?
Who do you think you are?
This is no longer a kingdom where you are welcome.
They're the first settlers. No, not settlers, the first colonizers.
And it's not like anyone would find you down here.
I will not tolerate any more failures.
The damage is pretty extreme.
Looks like it's been shot down.
I'm looking for any excuse to shoot this treacherous man where he sits.
Lee, why are you trying to destroy UNIT?
Doctor Who, the Northern Doctor Adventures. The Further Adventures. Coming the 16th of March 2024 at 12 p.m.
I act surprised, but I know I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But yes, very exciting. I'm very excited about this here because it's always good to have Nathan do new adventures as his doctor. And I think these are like some of the last that he recorded, isn't it?
Well, this is another volume that's been 2 years in the making. Because what we did was we recorded them. Well, we wrote them so far in advance. When Doctor Who Machination came out, we started working on this. But it's got a very diverse group of writers in comparison to usual, where it was usually just me. So in this one, we've got Nathan Carter himself, the Northern Doctor himself, writes an episode.
Oh!
And then we have got The Heir of Peladon, written by Eamon Longman. And then we've got Arid, written by J.R. Mortimer. Now, J.R. Mortimer is a name I've known since maybe around 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
He's one of the original fan film makers, and he's obviously stopped making fan films now, moved on, but he came on and came back, and we adapted one of his scripts from Doctor Who Machination, which was the original series 1, and now he's come back to write a whole new story for this. And I just love the fact we've been able to get back some of the OG fan filmmakers, for this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, with the next episode, we've got that which is called Over Emotional. That is written by Aidan O'Connor.
Oh, Aidan!
Which, of course, Aidan's a bit of an OG fan filmmaker too, but he did animations.
Yes.
And now he's moving into the range of audio and live action with the Burgundy Doctor on Doctor Who Expansive Multiverse.
Plug.
Yes, indeed. And then lastly, we have the final episode, which is called Closer, written by Ian Harris. Ian Harris is a very, very good writer. He writes a lot of stuff for TT Productions. So he's written a story. He's written this story, but he's written other stories with other Doctors that exist in the TT Whoniverse. He's written some other stories for Dwem before.
Yes.
But this is his first story and first script he's ever written for me before. And it was such a good script. He likes to play with time a lot by jumping back and forth between conversations, almost like flashbacks, but I suppose you could argue it's a little bit Nolan-y.
I was going to say, is he like the Christopher Nolan of our group?
I suppose so, yeah. But no, he was. I loved the script he wrote, and I'm really looking forward to people hearing it. But no, it's been about 2 years in the making. We do have a third and final volume in the works. That's currently in recording, but that's been sat there for about a year now, a year and a bit, because Nathan knew when he wanted to retire the character. The only problem is that he didn't record all of his lines before his retirement date.
Hey, fan.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting on a couple of lines. Not many. It's only a couple, like an episode or two. But as a result, it's just a little bit more scarce trying to get those lines,
I get you, sir.
But yes, nonetheless, that's what's coming up next.
Exciting times ahead.
Yes, and also thank you all for listening to this podcast. It's a little bit more chaotic than usual, but that's just down to the fact that we are busy.
Indeed, sir.
We're very, very busy. Indeed.
And everyone, take care, and we will be back next month.
Indeed. Farewell.
Farewell all.